The last person I expected to see at Dad's funeral was Deanna's husband, Mark. He stood at the back of the church, shifting uncomfortably in his expensive suit, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, which made sense, considering Diana had told everyone they'd divorced 6 months ago. But there he was, very much married to my sister, judging by the gold band still on his finger. I'm Grace Henderson, and at 35, I was about to learn that everything I thought I knew about my family was a carefully constructed lie. "Stop staring," Diana hissed, appearing beside me in a designer black dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. "He's here to pay his respects, that's all." I turned to my sister, studying her face. The face that had convinced our father I'd stolen money from his accounts. The face that had somehow persuaded him to change his will 24 hours before he died. "Funny," I said quietly. "You told Dad that Mark left you, that you needed extra support because of the divorce. That's why he increased your monthly allowance, right?" Her perfectly painted lips tightened. "This isn't the time, Grace." No, it wasn't. We were supposed to be mourning our father, Richard Henderson, successful real estate developer and pillar of the community. Instead, I was standing in our family church, watching my sister's web of lies slowly unravel. The service passed in a blur of hymns and eulogies. Diana gave a touching speech about Dad's generosity, her voice breaking at all the right moments. I sat silently in the front pew, remembering our last conversation. "Grace," he'd said, his voice weak but urgent. "There's something you need to know. About the money. About Diana." But before he could finish, Diana had swept in with his medication, shooing me away. "Dad needs rest," she'd insisted. "We can talk family business later." He died that night. The next morning, Diana produced a new will, signed and notarized, leaving her everything. The business, the properties, even our mother's jewelry that he promised would be mine. He finally saw the truth. Diana had said smugly, watching me read the document in shock, that I was the only one he could trust. Now, at the reception following the funeral, I watched her work the room like a politician. Diana had always been the sociable one, the daughter who could charm anyone. I was the quiet one, the one who preferred spreadsheets to social events. "Ms. Henderson," a man in a dark suit approached me. "Thomas Bradley, your father's security consultant. Do you have a moment?" I followed him to a quiet corner, away from the clusters of mourners discussing Dad's legacy. "Your father installed a new security system in his home office 3 months ago," Thomas said, keeping his voice low. "Cameras, audio recording, everything." He was concerned about something. My heart skipped. "Did he tell you what?" Thomas shook his head. "But he gave me instructions. If anything happened to him, I was to give you this." He slipped me a small USB drive. "Don't let anyone know you have it." Before I could ask more questions, Diana's voice cut through the room. "Grace, stop hiding and come help me with the guests." I tucked the drive into my purse, my mind racing. Dad had installed secret cameras. Why? And why tell me about them now? That evening, after the last mourners had left, Diana cornered me in Dad's study. The room still smelled like his cologne. His reading glasses still perched on the massive oak desk where he'd built his real estate empire. "I need you out of the house by the end of the week," she said, examining her manicure. "I'm selling it." "Selling it?" I stared at her. Dad loved this house. Mom decorated every room herself before she died. Diana's laugh was cold. "Please, it's outdated and the market's hot. Besides, it's mine now. I can do what I want with it." I looked around the study, remembering all the Sunday afternoons I'd spent here with Dad, learning about property values and investment strategies while Diana was out shopping or at parties. He'd been grooming me to take over the business. Everyone knew that. Until 3 months ago, when everything changed. When Diana suddenly started spending more time with him, bringing him meals, managing his medication. "What did you do?" I asked quietly. "To make him change the will?" Her expression hardened. "I told him the truth about you. About the money you've been stealing from the company accounts. I never stole anything. Tell that to the forensic accountant's report." She pulled a file from Dad's desk. $300,000. Grace. Transferred to offshore accounts over the past year. Dad was heartbroken when he saw the proof. I felt the blood drain from my face. The transfers were real. I'd done them myself, on Dad's instructions. They were for a real estate deal he wanted to keep quiet until it was finalized. A deal that would have doubled the company's holdings. Dad knew about those transfers. I protested. He ordered them. Really? Diana's smile was vicious. That's not what the paperwork shows. Your signatures, your access codes. No documentation of Dad's involvement, just a trusted daughter taking advantage of her position. I gripped the edge of Dad's desk, feeling the smooth wood under my fingers. You really expect people to believe I would steal from my own father? They already do. She waved the forensic report. The board has seen this. The police have a copy. Face it, Grace, you're finished. The only reason you're not in handcuffs is because Dad didn't want a scandal. The USB drive felt heavy in my purse. Whatever was on it, I knew I needed to watch it alone. I'll be out by Friday, I said finally. Diana's smile widened. Perfect. Oh, and Grace, don't bother trying to challenge the will. No judge will side with someone under investigation for embezzlement. I left the study feeling numb. The house I'd grown up in, the business I'd helped build, my very reputation, all gone in the blink of an eye. My apartment felt cold and empty when I finally got home. I'd moved out of Dad's house years ago, wanting to prove I could make it on my own. Now it felt less like independence and more like exile. With shaking hands, I plugged the USB drive into my laptop. Multiple video files appeared, each labeled with dates from the past 3 months. I clicked on the first one. A study appeared on my screen, the camera angle showing most of the room. Dad sat at his desk, looking tired but alert. Diana entered, carrying a glass of water and his evening medication. But instead of leaving, she sat down across from him. We need to talk about Grace. Her voice came clearly through the speakers. About what she's been doing with company money. I sat back, my heart pounding, as my sister began to weave her web of lies. On my screen, our father's face showed confusion, then concern, then anger as Diana presented her evidence. This was just the first video. There were dozens more, spanning 3 months of careful manipulation. 3 months that had cost me everything. But Diana had made one crucial mistake. She didn't know about the cameras. I pulled out my phone and dialed Thomas Bradley's number. I need copies of everything, I said when he answered. Every video, every recording. And I need to know exactly when that security system was installed. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. The videos became my nightly obsession. Each one revealed another layer of Diana's manipulation, another carefully orchestrated scene designed to turn our father against me. Look at these transactions, Diana's voice played through my laptop speakers. All authorized by Grace, all untraceable. She thinks she's so clever, Daddy, but I found the proof. I watched my father's face crumple as Diana showed him doctored bank statements, forged documents, fake email trails, all proving my supposed embezzlement. Each piece of evidence had been meticulously crafted to paint me as a thief. But Diana had made mistakes. Small ones, but they were there if he knew where to look. I picked up my phone and called the one person who could help me make sense of the financial trail. Michael? It's Grace Henderson. I need your expertise. Michael Chen had been Dad's forensic accountant for years before Diana hired her own person. He taught me everything I knew about following money trails. I saw the report about your alleged embezzlement, he said when we met at his office the next day. Something didn't add up, but by then had been removed from the company accounts. I placed a USB drive on his desk. A copy of Diana's evidence against me. I need you to look at these transactions. Really look at them. For 3 hours, we pored over the documents together. Michael's frown deepened as he noticed discrepancies. Timestamps that didn't match, routing numbers that led nowhere, authorization codes that didn't exist 3 months ago. This is professional work, he said finally. Someone with serious skills created these records, but they made one critical error. What's that? He pointed to a series of numbers on the screen. These authorization codes, they're backdated to make it look like you initiated the transfers last year, but this format wasn't implemented by the bank until 2 months ago. My heart raced. So the documents had to have been created recently. Very recently. He sat back, looking troubled. Grace, this isn't just fraud. This is sophisticated financial manipulation. Your sister had help. That's when I remembered Mark. Diana's supposedly ex-husband who worked in cybersecurity. The pieces started falling into place. I spent the next week gathering evidence. The security footage showed Diana making late-night calls from Dad's study, always when she thought no one was watching. Using Dad's phone records, I traced the calls to Mark's private number. Then came the breakthrough I'd been waiting for. In one video, dated just 2 days before Dad died, Diana was arguing with someone on the phone. "The documents have to be perfect," she hissed. "The board meets tomorrow." "No, listen to me, Mark. Once Dad signs the new will, it won't matter. Grace will be out, and we'll have everything. Just do your job and make the transfers look real." I watched that clip 20 times, each viewing revealing new details. The way Deanna kept glancing at Dad's medication on the desk. How she'd increased his dosage that week, claiming the doctor had ordered it. But when I called Dad's doctor, he confirmed no such order had been given. The next morning, I walked into the offices of Henderson Real Estate Development for the first time since Dad's death. Diana had moved into his corner office, of course. Her new nameplate gleamed on the door. Diana Henderson, CEO. She looked up as I entered, annoyance flashing across her face. "What are you doing here? You're not welcome in this building." "Actually," I said calmly, setting my laptop on her desk, "I am. The board is very interested in what I have to show them." Her confident smile faltered slightly. "The board isn't interested in anything you have to say. You're under investigation for theft, remember?" "Funny you should mention that." I opened my laptop, turning it so she could see the screen. "Want to watch some home movies?" The color drained from her face as she recognized the study, heard her own voice plotting with Mark. "Where did you get those?" "Dad was smarter than you gave him credit for." I started playing another clip, this one showing her tampering with his medication. He knew something was wrong. That's why he installed the cameras. "You're bluffing." But her voice shook. "Those videos could be fake. Like the financial records you and Mark created? The ones with impossible authorization codes?" I leaned forward. "The board has already seen everything. They're meeting right now to discuss it, along with the police." As if on cue, her phone buzzed. A message from the board chairman requesting her immediate presence in the conference room. "You can't prove anything," she whispered, but we both knew it was over. "I already have." I stood up, gathering my things. "By the way, how is Mark?" "Still happily divorced." She lunged for my laptop, but I was faster. Security was already waiting outside her office, the same security team that had watched her on camera systematically destroying my life. The next few hours passed in a blur of police statements, board meetings, and legal discussions. Diana was escorted from the building, her access revoked. Mark was arrested at his office, caught trying to delete evidence of their scheme. The forensic accountants found everything. The real transfers Diana had made to offshore accounts, the sophisticated software Mark had used to create fake records, even emails discussing their plan to discredit me and seize control of the company. "Your father suspected something," Thomas Bradley told me later. "He noticed money missing, saw Diana acting strangely. That's why he had me install the cameras. He was gathering evidence. But he died before he could expose them," I finished quietly. The toxicology report came back a week later. Diana had been systematically overdosing Dad's medication, not enough to kill him directly, but enough to cloud his judgment, make him susceptible to her manipulation. The new will was invalidated, signed under duress and medical impairment. Dad's original will was reinstated, the one that left the company to me and provided a modest trust fund for Diana. Not that it mattered now. Diana faced multiple charges: fraud, financial manipulation, elder abuse. Mark turned state's evidence, revealing their entire scheme in exchange for a lighter sentence. I stood in Dad's study, my study now, looking at the hidden camera that had saved everything. The company was intact, my reputation restored. But the cost had been steep. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Board meeting in 10. Ready to take the reins?" I straightened my jacket, squared my shoulders. Dad had trusted me with his legacy, even at the end. He'd made sure the truth would come out. On my way, I texted back. The company would thrive. I'd make sure of it, not just for Dad's memory, but for all the employees who trusted us with their livelihoods. Diana had wanted power at any cost. She'd forgotten the most important lesson Dad ever taught us. True legacy isn't about money or control. It's about integrity. As I left the study, I paused by his photo on the wall. "I got your message, Dad," I whispered, loud and clear. The security camera blinked silently above, Its red light a reminder that sometimes the truth has a way of emerging, even when everything seems lost. Deanna would have years in prison to think about her choices. Mark would never work in finance again. And me? I had a company to run, employees to protect, and a father's legacy to honor. Some say revenge is best served cold. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. For Dad, for the company, for the truth. The board was waiting. Time to show them exactly why Dad had chosen me all along. Ms. Henderson. Linda, Dad's former secretary, my secretary now, appeared at the door. Everyone's ready for you. I took one last look around the study, at the camera that had revealed everything. Let's get to work. After all, that's what Dad would have wanted.